Hi everyone. Hi, we're Team Multiplier, and here we're here to present our project called Sitting the Future. So actually, before I begin proper, I would like to remind us a very sobering fact. The fact that the ASEAN regional governments and all the countries represented here do not work well together in solving transboundary environmental problems. ASEAN has always been seen as a toothless tiger, all talk and no action. Well, we're here today to tell you it is time to change that. We want a unified response for youth to be part of this stakeholder engagement, since we're going to be the ones living with the consequences. So here, I'm going to start proper. Next slide. So the introduction. The problem we're really facing today from a bird's eye view is that there is a diversity of ASEAN's environmental problems. We require a sustainable regional program and contextualization of solutions to empower bottom-up change. Now today, we have seen so many groups present today about their action plans, and we think it is great and inspiring that they are focused on individual bottom-up change. For example, we've seen that some groups want to focus on 525 households to prevent plastic pollution. But what they're lacking is that they're forgetting that there are systemic industrial processes in place that are the main impact and the main cause of pollution in our region. So we're here today to tell you that we want to combine the two. We want to focus on bottom-up change, and we want to focus on top-down implementation as well. Next slide.
So while we're working, we had this philosophy in mind. To add growth, we can lead followers. But to really multiply growth, we have to lead leaders. So what's the problem? We need a regional platform to collect all the local youth leaders so they can work on the environmental challenges together. So what's the solution? We'll make a network through virtual and domestic workshops that aims to work for youth by youth, because youth can really understand what their country needs and can implement plans that are not only innovative but effective too.
So the objectives of our solution. Now, pursuant to Articles 7 and 8 of the Millennium Development Goals 2015, which calls for ensuring environment sustainability and also to develop a global partnership for development, we bring you our objectives. The first one is to bridge different youth domestic stakeholders with this regional network and program that we want to create. And the second thing is to create sustainable engagement across borders. But the focus really is to give space for youth leaders to implement localized solutions, because only they know the domestic environmental challenges. We also want to equip young leaders through this network with resources, expertise, which thus promotes knowledge and experience sharing across ASEAN. More importantly, this will emphasize the importance of regional cooperation amongst ASEAN youth, which can prove to our governments that ASEAN regional cooperation is something that is tangible and able to succeed. Next slide. So what is our actual solution? Now, our solution is that we want to create this regional network of ASEAN youth environmental leaders, and this regional network will supply each individual countries with funding, grants, and sources for expertise and sharing of experience. And this regional network will relate to these domestic workshops, and whereby youth leaders will lead workshops to implement solutions to domestic environment challenges. So this connection will be through virtual social media sharing such as Skype, etc. And this will come to us at relatively low cost. The focus of it is to share information across the borders. Next slide. So here you see a subset of infographic that we've actually sent out and posted on a Facebook group. And the infographic tells us how to make ASEAN better in managing the environment. So now we're focusing on three things, right? Unity and diversity, because all our environmental problems are so different. We use social media because we think youth are the biggest population in ASEAN, and we are all plugged into the internet. And the most important thing is to engage with domestic stakeholders. We don't just want to raise awareness and spread the message in the media. What we want is actual tangible change on the ground level. Next slide. So this is our timeline. The first step we want to do is to identify domestic contextualized environmental problems. Now let's take Cambodia. Deforestation is a huge problem in Cambodia. But in a particular village in the north, is it still deforestation the main problem? Probably water supply or access to sustainable water supply and healthcare is another problem for them. So we are looking at really implementation on the bottom up. The second thing is to design a unique program to meet domestic environmental needs. This will follow the workshop program that we've experienced today. And thirdly, we want to outreach to each of our domestic stakeholders, such as governments, NGOs, and ministries, for collaboration and to identify intersectional interests and issues for us to work together with them. And the second part is outreach and publicity. So it's just that advertising on social media. We want to invite students and experts to join the program. And the next part is to pursue investors and corporate sponsorships because we want financial sustainability of the program. Now, up to this point, this will take about 3 months, and for us, we will launch our unit programs in each of our countries by September this year. All right, next slide. And lastly, after launching our individual pilot projects in our own countries, we will release a report on an analysis of success and failures of our program. We will make improvements on the program, reevaluate partnerships with our stakeholders and other partners, and at the end of the day, what we want to do is to see the future. We are the seeds that going back to our domestic countries, we are there to grow trees of change. Next slide. So now we will share each of our delegates examples of what we're going to launch in our individual countries.
They're very unique because we know that one solution cannot solve every problem. So in my country, I'm going to teach about deforestation to the high school students in my own high school. That's because we do not have any environmental education in the curriculum, and therefore we have lack of awareness, and we don't understand how we can help the environment. And the key stakeholders would be the officials, students, and the local NGOs who will benefit from these young leaders. The funding will come from the high school students and the school administration. And it will cost only at most $200, but should the expenses exceed $200, we will cover by fundraising and donations.
And deforestation is one of the most critical issues in Cambodia. Majority of Cambodia put a strong concern and enthusiasm to take on this issue. However, they have lack of access to the approach we can implement their passion. For example, my university has no approach to any project or conference related to environment. Therefore, together with my professor, I have to propose one project that supported by the Ministry of Environment of Cambodia and engage all high school students from 5 high schools in my community to come up together, discuss and share their knowledge. After that, our students will spread their knowledge and tie up strongly through social media. Our stakeholders are high school administrator, Ministry of Environment, fundraiser, and through Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
For Singapore, currently there is an ASEAN conference happening in September. So our main stakeholders will be International Enterprise Singapore, of which we already have a partnership with, the Yale Association, ASEAN Latam Consultancy, etc. Targeted audience will be university students. We want to remind university students that ASEAN is a viable option for regional work, which most Singaporeans do not have the mindset of. Through funding, we will look for the Yale Association, fundraisers, through crowdsourcing such as Kickstarter and Indiegogo, as well as asking for grants from corporate sponsorships.
In Vietnam, I want to focus on biodiversity, loss and conservation work, because I know that biodiversity in Vietnam is the most urgent issue. So I want to focus on that. And throughout my work on volunteer and student clubs, I just figure out the students are very passionate about environment issue, but they don't have the essential skills and tools to implement the action in the efficiently way. So I just want to bring them the best tools and talks. Okay. And about the stakeholder, we want to invite the student from university and the NGOs from in the conservation work, and other professors or experts on the conservation work as well. We can raise the fund from NGOs and youth organizations. So that's all from my.
Okay, so now let's move to Cambodians that we will focus on the risk management. that we will training the people on how to use the banana leaf, we can say the palm leaf or the lentil leaf instead of use the plastic bag, and how to disadvantages that the people use the plastic bag and recycle the plastic bag also. And we also have this we will conduct that workshop in the Phnom Penh city and the Kandan province. It will be here on the 16th and 17th May 2015. And also we will have the stakeholders with the local authority of the Phnom Penh, local authority of the Kandan province, we can say the student, and also we also have the student and also with the citizens. And we will training to the citizen and the student also. And about the funding, we get funding from the U.S. Embassy of Phnom Penh. We get funding from the NGOs, private sector, government agency, and it will cost about maybe $200 US dollar. And the human resource, we will get it from the Palestine University student Zinet volunteer for our project. Okay, that's all. So let's move to my partners.
One of the main issues that I can think of in the Philippines is the lack of awareness concerning the environmental issues, in particular climate change. So the solution that I'm planning is to organize a series of environmental lectures to university students, soon to be leaders, and I will be utilizing the resources of University of the Philippines. Hello, in Diliman. That's it.
Next.
So, last night, we posted an online survey, and this happened 12 hours ago. We asked people if they would be interested to be connected to a network of young leaders, and we got 144 responses and counting across Asia, and they said yes. So 91.8% said yes. And then we also posted our infographic. We shared it across many groups and posters, and they commented that they would love to be part of this action plan. So far we have 137 likes, 32 shares. And this just happened in 12 hours. Can you imagine what effect it would have in the following months?
Next slide. So how we define success is just growing numbers of membership, partnerships, and awareness. Thank you.